Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a fun video. I've been wanting to do this for a while. It is a top travel tips video. So if you're a subscriber or if you have seen my must-haves video, I did mention that we went on a trip recently in September to Paris, London, and Barcelona. So we did 3 different countries in 2 weeks time, and it was so much fun, but we did learn a lot, and I wanted to share this with you guys for, before you go on your next trip, or if you've already gone and you're planning something new for next year maybe. Definitely watch this. It is very helpful, and I wish I knew some of these things before I went. I did do some research on my own before going traveling, but when you do travel yourself, you learn a lot, and I wanted to share that with you guys. Before I get into it, please subscribe, like this video, share, comment. It's free to do so. It really helps me out, and I really enjoy making videos like this, so I would really appreciate it. It really makes my day. I also wanted to take a moment to say thank you to all 35 subscribers. This really means a lot, and I'm so glad you subscribed. So stay tuned for more fun videos like this. Now let's get into top travel tips. All right, tip number 1. And this list is not in any particular order. I did not rank these because I feel like all of them are pretty important to know. But number 1 actually was not placed on purpose, but it is actually probably the most important thing that you could do, and that is to do your research. To be honest, I can't stress enough how important it is for you guys to do your research before you go on a trip. Get to know, the culture of the country that you're visiting. For example, we went to Paris, so I researched about the Paris culture, what to do, what not to do, things that they wear, that they don't wear, little phrases that I can, try to pronounce when needed, like, instead of saying hello and thank you, say bonjour, merci, and instead of saying where's the bathroom, say where's the toilette. If you can't say where's the bathroom all in French, at least you can throw words here and there and show them that you're trying, and you're, a foreigner in their country, but you are trying to learn their ways, to kind of attempt at their language. And that goes for any country that you visit. I feel like that's really important when you're visiting like an international country, to just to make a little bit of an effort. It really makes a difference in someone's day over there. And that could be probably the best tip that I could give you guys. But that's tip number 1. All right, tip number 2, figure out your transportation before you land, because there are a lot of different ways you can get from the airport and try to get to the hotel. Paris City Center, for example, we were going from Orly Airport to the Paris City Center, where our hotel was. Our hotel was close to the Louvre Museum, and so when we got there, our phones were kind of acting up. When you switch it back off of airplane mode, it has to kind of connect to the wireless connection, I guess, from the other country that you're in. So it took some time. It wasn't working right away. I was not able to get to the internet. The Wi-Fi wasn't working in the airport. It was kind of slow. So there's a lot of things that can go, wrong, and you can't just depend on your phone for your only mode of transportation. So we just said, whatever, screw it, we're just gonna go outside, see where the taxi stands are, and just get a taxi. We'll just pay for it, whatever, it doesn't matter at this point. We just want to get to our hotel. We're really tired. So that's what we did. We after our baggage claim, we went straight towards the exit, but on the floor it says all these arrows are pointing to taxis. So we just followed those arrows, ended up following a few people that were also going to get a taxi, and we grabbed a taxi. I had no idea that it was a flat fee. I had watched videos and people were saying that the taxis will charge you 100 euros. That was not the case. It was actually 38 euros to get from Orly to Paris City Center, and it's a flat rate, so it doesn't just keep increasing when you're sitting in traffic. It's good for us as a traveler, but for people who are working there, their rate kind of stays the same regardless of how long they're stuck in traffic. So just a pointer, tip the driver. He was very quiet during the entire trip, entire car ride, and that's fine. Not everyone wants to sit and make conversation with you. So we just, sat quietly, and he got us to our hotel. It's a really tight street, so he kind of like had to go on the sidewalk to park. And I said, how much is it? He said 38 euros. And I said, how do I, tip you? Because I was surprised at how cheap it was. I thought it was going to be 100 euros like I had kept reading about. So yeah, it was 38 euros. And I asked him how I could tip him. And he said, you just tell me the amount and I will add it to the 38 euros. So I said, give yourself 10 euros. So I gave him a 10 euro tip. And his mood completely changed after that. He was so happy. He, helped us with our luggages. He put him inside the hotel, went inside the hotel with us to put the luggages inside, thanked me over and over again, and he was so happy after that. So I know you're tired, you just got off of a plane, you just want to get to your hotel, but also think about the people that are taking you to your hotel. Taxi drivers, they don't seem like they make a lot of money, and it was a flat rate, so he can't just keep increasing the price to get more money off of that one ride. So I gave him 10 euros. It made his day. It made my day to make him happy with 10 euros. And, that's like a cup of Starbucks in America for us. Sometimes when you add like a shot of espresso or two, it becomes $10. So just do something for someone else, and, it'll make their day along with yours. And I feel like that was like off topic, but know your travel, before you land. If you want to research about their taxis, try to see, like I had searched what taxis and, how much they cost, the trains and things like that. The only issue with the trains is you don't want to, well, I didn't want to take all our luggages into a train, knowing that there are people that try to scam you on these trains. I didn't want to hold 3 luggages plus our backpacks. We have camera gear, computers, things that are expensive. So you don't want to just go into a train and kind of risk that, like risk catching so much attention because you have all these luggages with you, like screaming out you're a tourist. So I just wanted to get there easy. Taking a train is not easy with your luggages. I'll get to that a little later in the list, but yeah, know your mode of transportation. Try to take, I'm going to take a taxi when we land. I'm going to, call for an Uber. I'm going to, like Google how much all those cost and see what fits your budget best. All right, tip number 3 now. I wanted to make sure I put this on the list because normally my fiance and I, we tend to wake up early. We go to places early here in Orange County, Los Angeles. We're in Southern California. So we normally wake up early because we need to beat traffic. Traffic here in Southern California sucks. And if you live in Southern California, you definitely understand what I'm talking about. So going from Orange County to Los Angeles can sometimes take 2 hours because of traffic. So we wake up early, bright and early, get ready, leave, get to where we need to go. We're more like early birds. So we beat the traffic, we beat the crowds. And then when we come back home, we just kind of relax while everyone is just, scrambling about trying to get to where they want to go. So we kind of did the same thing when we were traveling because that's just kind of the people that we are. That's how we do things normally. But when you're traveling, this is so helpful because first of all, you beat all the really like crowded touristy areas. So that is a must. 2, you're more likely to find tickets for things that, let's say you forgot to book it or something like that. You got to go early to buy a ticket. It just depends, but it's mainly the crowds. Like we went to the Louvre Museum, I think on our day 2. If you watch the Paris vlog, days 1 and 2, I'll include that in the description box. You'll see the Louvre Museum when it's completely empty. There's nobody in there. And we got 9 a.m. reservations. That's the first reservation that you can possibly get. It opens at 9. That's the first reservation. So I booked the first reservation. I did it online because I had planned what we're doing each day, obviously, just to get like a little itinerary going. And so I had purchased Louvre 2 tickets already online. And We went at 9 a.m. We were the first people to enter the Louvre Museum, literally the first people. So when you go early, there's nobody there. You could take all your photos early in the morning. It's not even that early. We got there maybe like at 8 a.m. So we were waiting about like an hour early before our reservation. Took pictures of, you know, the museum, the pyramid. Looked around kind of to see like where the line is going to be, because you see all these like ropes, you know, squiggling around, and you want to make sure you get to your reservation. There's signs that say 9 a.m., 10 a.m., I don't know, 11:30. It tells you all the reservations that need to be standing in that section. There's going to be several sections for the Louvre Museum. And so go to your section, stay there. Once we stood in line, we were the first people. I was waiting by that sign myself. I was like, I'm not moving. And people started coming in behind us and started creating a line. But go early, crowds will be less, the headache will be less, the stress will be less. We literally ran to the Mona Lisa. Everybody was running to the Mona Lisa, not running, but like power walking to get to the Mona Lisa first, because that is like the attraction in the Louvre. That's the one attraction that gets really, really crowded and has its own line inside the museum. So we literally just walked up to it. You'll see it in the must-haves video if you watch that. You just walk up into the line, take your picture calmly. No one is pushing you, no one is behind you. Like, it was so peaceful, and the entire museum was empty. You know, we were just walking around in an empty museum. So go early. No matter what you're doing, try to get an early reservation, early ticket, whatever it is, early appointment. It will make a difference in your trip, trust me. Tip number 4, this is important, but you may have a change of plans. So I did talk about, you know, have an itinerary. I had an itinerary for the Louvre. I said I'm gonna, you know, buy tickets for this day, and that's the day that we went. But things change, you know. You can't always go strictly by your itinerary. So have an itinerary ready, like a kind of like a draft. And of course, the things that you bought tickets for, you're going to want to try to make those. But if it's anything else, like, oh, where should we eat? Should we eat at all these restaurants that, you know, I had written out for myself, whether it's through social media, people telling me where to eat, myself yelping and trying to find things with like good reviews. But things don't always work that way. You're going to be really tired. You're going to be walking so much, and sometimes you need a reservation, you don't have one. The wait is like hours for like the popular restaurants, and sometimes they're closed and you don't know why. So you can't go strictly off of your itinerary all the time and be upset about it. So just, you know, keep cool, keep calm, go with your itinerary as best as you can. But if you can't and you're out and about, just Yelp something right then and there and see what's around you, what has good reviews. If it doesn't, you know, you don't have to go. But like, there's so many cafes and restaurants in other cities, you know, like Paris, for example. There's a cafe in every single corner. Like, the entire street is full of cafes and stores of some kind. So you will not be starving at all. So that's tip number 4. Right, tip number 5, check the weather before you go. I know people say this a lot, but you'll be surprised how many people are traveling without the right clothes or gear, you know, whatever it is that you're going to need depending on the weather and depending where you're traveling. So for my example specifically, we went to Paris. That's the first destination. So I checked, you know, up until the last minute of that week. Like, we flew out on a Friday night. I kept checking until Thursday and Friday morning what the weather is going to be. It said it's going to rain. And so I was prepared for that, you know. Like, you have to be prepared for the weather. Don't go there and then be surprised that it might, you know, it's changed. It's not what you thought it would be or something like that, you know. And like places like London, they, you know, it rains. It could rain at any time. Even though the weather doesn't say it's gonna rain when you checked, it might start raining. So always have like either a small travel umbrella with you in your bag or backpack. have a small rain jacket. I did have that in my must-have, so definitely check that out. You will find it useful items to purchase before you travel. It's not sponsored or anything. It's just things that I purchased on my own and decided to take with me. So definitely check the weather before you go. We're on tip number 6 now. This is important. Pack light. I cannot stress that enough. Don't overpack when you're going, especially international trips. Domestic is a bit different. The airlines have different requirements. Some of them let you have 2 checked-in bags for free, like Southwest does. But international flights, you can only take 1 check-in bag. Some for free, some are included in your ticket, and some you have to pay a whole lot extra for just to check in a bag. So I will definitely say this over and over again to everybody: pack light. It's exactly what I did, and I don't regret it at all. We packed 2 carry-ons, 1 per person, and 1 check-in bag that was empty. So we checked in an empty check-in bag. We did that on purpose because you're going to purchase things when you're traveling abroad and bring them back with you. So you need to have some empty space so you don't have to pay for new luggage and pay for another checked bag. So our tickets, because I had purchased tickets that were fully refundable because of COVID, I was traumatized with COVID. In 2020, we were going to take a trip, and the tickets were, non-refundable. They kind of just gave us airline credits, so that's what we had to use this time around. We had to finish those points out, but I was traumatized from that experience. I don't want to go through that issue again, having to call and beg for a refund when there is a global pandemic happening. But aside from that, our tickets were refundable. We paid a little bit extra to get a refundable ticket, and they also included checked bags per person. But you don't need that much. You're not going to need that much stuff. Trust me, you can fit everything in a carry-on. I know people say it's impossible. I used to be one of those people because I was like, there's no way I could put everything in a carry-on and, have enough stuff when I'm traveling. But I did. We both did. We had 2 carry-ons and plus an empty check-in luggage. We put like maybe things that we didn't carry, like an umbrella, an extra pair of like sandals or something like that I didn't care about, extra pair of pants or pajamas, something. Just so it's not so empty, like just literally an empty luggage. But it makes a difference. You don't want to be, especially if you're trying to take transportation, like public transportation from your airport to the hotel, you're not going to want to be hauling your luggages around with you if you've packed so much stuff. And if your check-in bags are all super heavy at 50 kilograms or 50 pounds, sorry, it's not going to be fun. Trust me, it's not fun. So pack light. I'll post another video about how to pack a carry-on, like everything 2 weeks worth into a carry-on. It's doable. I've done it. And I'll post another video about that a different time. But pack light. You're not going to need all the things that you're thinking of. Also, depending on your destination, you're probably not going into like a village that is so far away from the town. If you are, that's a different story. You might want to pack things that that you can't find over there. But if you're going to a city like Paris, Barcelona, London, they have stores there, they have clothing there. If you ever need anything, you can always purchase something. Your hotels have laundry services. You can give them your clothes to do either dry clean or laundry. It's worth the fee sometimes if you're trying to avoid having to check in a bag completely, but it's doable. There are ways to go about it. So I kind of got ahead of myself, but tip number 7 is to pack everything in a carry-on and take 1 or 2 check-ins, whatever you want to do. We just took 1 and use the check-in for things that you want to purchase. So what we did is, when we packed everything originally, everything is in our carry-on. We did not want to lose that. A lot of people were saying you're going to lose your luggage. The airline is going to lose your luggage. You're going to lose everything of yours. And they were putting all these videos out, like scaring people. And it's true. It's always possible that someone one airline can lose your luggage. It's just inevitable. You cannot predict that, but you can do things to help yourself from preventing that from happening, such as only going with a carry-on. Use a carry-on, carry on, carry on, carry on. That is the way to go. It's directly above you. It's in the plane with you at all times. We took one check-in bag that was for purchases. So anytime we made a purchase, whether it was expensive or not, we put it in our carry-on, and we took something out of our carry-on, like all the clothes that we wore, let's say in Paris. We took all those clothes and put them in the check-in bag, the dirty laundry. It basically becomes like a dirty laundry bag to check in, because you don't want to lose the things that you just purchased. I made some luxury purchases in Europe, and I put them in my carry-on, and I put clothes that I had worn into the check-in bag to kind of empty out some space for my carry-on so it can meet the weight limit. So do it however you want, but I definitely recommend trying it out that way. It will help you out. It'll be less stressful. You won't be rummaging through your suitcase in the airport trying to throw things away because you just bought things and you want to take the ones that you just bought. So that's tip number 7. All right, tip number 8, find good walking shoes. This is so important. So many people that, when you're traveling, you see what they're wearing. You can't walk with shoes. You can't walk with high heels. You can't walk with wedges. If you're going to walk all day long and try to explore the country, by foot, how it should be, you're going to be super tired. Your legs are going to be aching. Your back is going to be aching. You're going to be really, really exhausted. And if you don't have good walking shoes, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you're doing it wrong because it's going to hurt your feet and you're going to be just upset. You're not going to feel like going anywhere if your feet are hurting. I took one pair of sneakers. I took one pair that I had Crocs, the Crocs sneakers. I'll try to link them below. I don't know if they still have them because I was trying to buy another color and I couldn't find it. But if I find it, maybe there's a newer version of it. I'll post it in the description box. This is not sponsored by Crocs or anything. I just bought the Crocs because they're super comfortable. We always go to Disneyland here in Orange County, so we need to walk a lot. Those are the only shoes that I can walk in because it feels like I'm on a cloud. I had bought a second pair of shoes. It was the APL sneakers. Don't ever buy new sneakers or new shoes to go traveling with. You have not broken them in yet. I just assumed, okay, it's a sneaker, it's meant for running and working out and things like that. It's going to be okay. I don't need to break those in. Wrong. Don't buy new sneakers. The APLs are comfortable, but they're also just like any other sneaker that, you go to the gym with or you go walking with. They're not meant to be walked on all day long. I'm sorry, but like Nikes, Adidas, like all the things that you purchase to walk with, they're good for a few hours, and then after that you start feeling your feet ache. I feel like the Crocs really hold it down for much longer than just regular sneakers do. You could try that out yourself and test it out and see if that works for you. But for me, for my feet, I feel like wearing just regular sneakers does not help. I have to find walking shoes, things that maybe nurses or doctors wear in the hospital. They're on their feet all day long. Look for things like that. Unless you're some crazy influencer where you need to do like a change of clothes, they change their clothes. They don't wear high heels around Paris and London all day long. It's just, that's like not how it works, guys. So definitely wear really good walking shoes. You will thank me later once you do that. Try out the Crocs. I'll see if I can link them down below, but the Crocs are good. They don't look like the regular clog Crocs. They just look like normal sneakers. So I'll show you guys. Tip number 9. So this is important. I feel like not a lot of tourists are comfortable doing this, but once you get over that, you will be so much happier. Use public transportation. That is tip number 9. Use public transportation, especially when you're going to Europe. Europe has like the top public transportation you could think of, like Japan, like places like that, they have really good public transportation. If you live in California, or I don't know how other parts of the US are as far as their public transportation, but California doesn't have an amazing system, okay? So once you go to a country like that that has it, it's like a whole new world down there. We use public transportation in Paris probably the day that we had to go to Disneyland, because Disneyland was about a 45-minute to 50-minute train ride. And so this is in Paris, we had to take the train, and it was super easy, you know, like we used our phone for the maps. If you put the destination on your maps, this is an Apple iPhone, so I don't know about like Google or other phones, but for an Apple iPhone, we put it on the maps, you know, to go to Disneyland. It tells you exact public transportation, you know, lines that you need to go on. It's super convenient, super like accurate. It's very accurate. We did not get lost. We did end up getting on a train that was not servicing the stop that Disneyland's at, so we just got off randomly and got the next one. So the trains come like every 4 or 5 minutes. You really barely, sorry, there's a fly. You're really barely waiting for a train. So yeah, you will not regret it. Your feet will not regret it. They will love you for it. So use public transportation. Don't be afraid. I know there's a lot of people saying there's, you know, scammers down there, and people are gonna, you know, pickpocket you. They're gonna steal your stuff. That could be true. That is probably true, and that is what happens. But you need to be aware of your surroundings. You can't just blindly go into public transportation. It might be crowded. You're just standing with people. You got money in your pockets, your wallet, your phone. Of course, you know, you're just screaming out, rob me or something like that. So put your stuff in a bag. Keep your bag in front of you at all times. Be aware of your surroundings. Try to stick together if you're traveling with somebody or a group of people, and you will be fine. Trust me, you will be okay in the public transportation. Nothing will happen. All right, that was actually tip number 10, is watch for scams. So that kind of corresponds to public transportation. Just be aware of your surroundings. You can't just be afraid to do things because something may happen. If you are aware of your surroundings and you know where you're going, you're looking around you, you see, you know, you're avoiding places that looks a little bit shady, you know, don't go out in the middle of the night and just by yourself with all your jewelry on and all these, you know, designer things. I'm just hitting everything today, I'm sorry. But yeah, so just be aware of your surroundings. Keep your bag in front of you at all times. Don't, you know, have a backpack and throw it behind you with all your money and everything that you need in your backpack and it's behind you. You don't have eyes in the back of your head. So keep it in front of you. Keep everything out of your pockets. Put it in your bag. I had one crossbody bag that I used the entire 2 weeks. And, you know, crossbody, I never put it just on one shoulder. I put it as a crossbody and kept it in front of me at all times. It was never to the side of me. It was never behind me. It was always in front of me. So, and it's always zipped up. Buy something with a zipper. Don't buy something that's just wide open. So tip number 11 is restrooms are not free in Europe. I don't know about all of Europe, but the places that we went to, unless you're going to a restaurant or, you know, there's like a museum, something like that, those were free. Those were, you know, inside the museum, inside the restaurant, you can use them, no problem. But places like, you know, just like public restrooms that you see, you know, here in Southern California, we know we go to, I don't know, whatever market, like a farmer's market, and there's like a public restroom, you know, in that shopping center that they're at for everybody in that shopping center. So there's several public restrooms, they're free. There were times, I think it was in Barcelona, we went to La Boqueria. I don't even know how to say it. It's like that outside food market is amazing, it's beautiful, it's so delicious, but the one thing was that there were public restrooms, but you had to pay. I think it was like 50 cents, basically 50. I don't know what they call it actually, but we should probably research on that too, what they call the cents. That's the end of my list actually. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the information was useful. I hope you use some of these tips on your next trip. Stay safe and, enjoy your trip if you're going on a trip, and if you're not, have fun planning. Bye guys. I'll see you in the next video. People were saying you're going to excuse me.